welcome to the PostRace show for the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series Season 3, the Holland Hurricanes 250 from Worldwide Technology Raceway. And to say it was an interesting chain of events here, that would be putting it, well, frankly, that would be a very severe injustice. But ultimately, in the end, it was the number 41 GTR Motorsports Ford of Jose Mercado out of Kissimmee, Florida, who ultimately survived all the carnage and picked up his first win of the season, thereby locking himself into the Season 3 playoffs. So, yeah, first off, Jose, congratulations on surviving that night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be here talking to you. It's been a while.
It has, for sure. I mean, you've certainly had your close calls along the way, but ultimately you wound up surviving here tonight. And I mean, it wasn't without incident on your side as well, and we'll get into all that. But yeah, like after a night like that, how do you try and make sense of that kind of a race and kind of how everything went down and ultimately went in your favor?
Man, honestly, I just take the win and run. Nothing else I can do. Take it how you can take them. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. Certainly. Yeah, obviously, a lot of stuff happening. I think the track may have caught a few people out over the course of the evening. And I know that, as I mentioned, you kind of had that little incident. I can't remember if it was stage 1 or 2, but once that happened, like it seemed like you were running pretty well up to that point. But once you kind of had to reset yourself there, what was your, I guess, mindset would be the best thing to ask about, because obviously you had more than half the race still to go.
Well, this is a really tough track. I had to go over the really tight bars. So on stage 1, I was keeping up with Mike and Gator there. Mm-hmm. Then when I made my adjustment, I was able to get to Gator Mike, and I was able to pass him while I was leading. I caught that little corner of the backstretch and went around like 3 times. So I had to, try to be able to get past Piccola Gator that was saving fuel, and get back on the lead lap. After that, then I had to, reset. It was a roller coaster. Crazy night.
Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, obviously, we talked about you just referenced your spin there a moment ago, or multiple spins. Obviously, you were making your way back up the field, but then obviously we had that incident midway through stage 3 that effectively wiped out the top 3 in the form of Nickens, Gator, and Ty Higginbotham. So ultimately, was there sort of a switch that flipped where you realized, hey, I'm back on for the win here potentially? Or how did you kind of manage those last 40 to 50 laps?
So I restarted stage 3, 15th place. I was able to get back up to like 6th place before the first pit stop. Made some adjustment, got out in 4th place. I was starting to catch them 3. And I want to say this, I feel really bad for Mike Nickens. He had the best car out there all night. He had that win. But as I was catching him, Mike was talking on my ear. He was getting a little loose. And when I saw the wreck, I actually went down to 2nd gear to slow down, to miss it. And I know I had Piccola in front of me, but I didn't know he had damage or not. So I followed him onto pit road. And when I saw that he stayed and I left, I was either a speeding penalty or damage from the wreck. So I knew that at that point, it was just a matter of, hit my mark consistently and try to avoid any other mistakes or others' mistakes.
Yeah, and it was definitely an interesting watch there at the end, because it seemed like, I don't know if it was a loose setup or potentially some lag, but I thought there were a couple of spots where you might have gotten a little bit of a wiggle going there toward the end. So obviously, the timing being what it was toward the end of the stint, just how were you able to hang on?
So what people, on the stream, it doesn't show. Me and Piccola pitted right on the field window. It gives you 38 laps, but by the time you get out of pit road, halfway through the backstretch, it turns down to 27. So on the turns, I had to put it in neutral so I can save some fuel to make it to the end. And when you put it back in gear, it gets loose, so it eats up the right rear tire. So that's what was happening.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense here. Well, as much sense as NASCAR heat can make. I know we've taken plenty of chirps at it over the last couple of years, but yeah, certainly interesting to hear it from your perspective there as well. And now, obviously, you referenced, how things were going for Mike, and obviously being caught up in that incident. But still, with you taking the checkered flag, it's still breaking the goose egg in terms of victories for GTR. So obviously, even though Mike didn't get it, you obviously did. So obviously there has to be a little bit of satisfaction there in terms of, ultimately picking up the result, and obviously Jacob right there in the top 3 or 4 as well.
But I'm just glad we were able to beat Tornado. They had too many wins in a row. So they're my boys too, but we had to win a couple. They can't win them all.
Yeah, they had a good run of 5 in a row going here before this evening. Of course, 2 of the 3 drivers taken out in that lead incident were the Tornado Alley guys, as you mentioned. So, it kind of opened the door here for you. But obviously, with the win, obviously it came a little bit earlier than it did last season. So nice little bit of relief, I guess, over the next 3 weeks before playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like I finally was able to put a whole race together. Even though I wrecked, I didn't mess up my setup for the last stage, which I have done the last couple of races. So I feel like I'm getting back into it now and see if I can get a couple more wins and solidify myself up there, catch those Tornado guys. They have 2 wins already, so we'll go get them at Indy.
Yeah, well, there you go. That is obviously the next stop here, back to the oval component of Indy. Obviously, we did the road course for the All-Star race last season, but yeah, it's back to the traditional oval format. Obviously, it's a little bit longer than WWT was tonight, but still kind of similar in terms of the, relatively flat banking through the turns, and obviously a little bit of a different configuration. But yeah, what do you think your kind of overall expectations are going into, what could be another kind of chaotic race in Indy next week?
Well, I feel like now that I got the points and the win, I can try to be more risky at stuff, but it's going to be a tough race. It is a loose racetrack, but you have to be loose to be fast. So just got to make sure you stay on that line, not too loose, but loose enough to turn. So I feel pretty good about it. I like that racetrack, so we'll go get them again next week, see what we can do.
Yeah, and as you say, it should be a rather interesting encounter here. Again, it is the Fix Auto Charlottetown 200, so round 3 in the Fix Auto Cup as well. That'll be next Tuesday night, assuming my technology comes into play. We'll go live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on our Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. But yeah, I guess the last thing to kind of reference here is that, this was a rather interesting race, a little bit of a demolition derby by times, but once again, you've survived it here, Jose. So it goes without saying, a very much a hard fought, well earned win here tonight. So congratulations one more time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And I got to throw this GTR baby out there. You know what I'm saying?
Wide coming through the turn here. They're coming up to the line here now. Darcy Ford still got it. Ward trying to get inside though. Where's Ward going to come in? Darcy Ford. And there's the checkered flag. Darcy Ford. And indeed, as he comes through turn 4, he's going to see the checkered flag. And there it is. Scott Bailey is your winner of tonight's Fix Auto 250. They're going to get the white flag this time around. Final lap of tonight's track device W125. And coming through. Oh, Marini went through. They're right on the back of each other. Paytack's going to get in on the inside. They're door to door. Paytack into the wall. Mike Marini, he's going to win.
behind him on that back
There's
straight.
a lot of carnage right there.
Oh, dear.
A lot.